The Caribbean Sea, a realm of azure waters and sun-drenched islands, was also a battleground for empires and a haven for outlaws. In the early 18th century, one name struck fear into the hearts of sailors and civilians alike: Blackbeard. His name alone conjured images of a demonic figure wreathed in smoke and fire, his eyes blazing with terrifying intensity. Born Edward Teach, Blackbeard's early life remains shrouded in mystery. We know he was likely born in England sometime around 1680, but the details of his upbringing are lost to history. Whatever his origins, Teach eventually found his way to the Caribbean, where he joined the crew of Benjamin Hornigold, a notorious privateer turned pirate. While the exact details of Edward Teach's early life remain elusive, historians believe he was likely born into a world far removed from the swashbuckling adventures he'd later embody. It's speculated that Teach might have hailed from Bristol, England, a bustling port city known for its maritime trade and privateering activities. The end of Queen Anne's War in 1714 saw a surge in unemployed sailors and privateers, many of whom turned to piracy to survive. The Caribbean, with its sprawling archipelago of islands, offered the perfect environment for piracy to thrive. The region's lucrative trade routes, carrying valuable goods like sugar, rum and silver, presented tempting targets for opportunistic pirates. It was amidst this backdrop of lawlessness and opportunity that Edward Teach, now embracing the mantle of Blackbeard, embarked on his path to infamy. Blackbeard's time with Hornigold's crew was a period of rapid ascent. He quickly distinguished himself through his courage, intelligence, and natural leadership qualities. Hornigold, recognizing Blackbeard's potential, entrusted him with greater responsibilities, eventually granting him command of his own sloop. In 1717, Hornigold accepted a pardon from the British Crown, choosing to abandon piracy and return to a life within the bounds of the law. The departure of Hornigold marked a turning point in Blackbeard's life. No longer content to follow, he craved the power and prestige of leading his own fleet. He captured a large French merchant ship, a frigate originally named Concorde, but renamed by Blackbeard as Queen Anne's Revenge. This heavily armed vessel, with its 40 cannons, became his flagship, a symbol of his growing power and a potent tool for instilling fear. With the Queen Anne's Revenge at his command, Blackbeard launched a reign of terror that would spread his name throughout the Caribbean. His reputation preceded him, often causing captains to surrender their cargo without a fight, terrified by the mere sight of his black flag emblazoned with a horned skeleton. Blackbeard's tactics were as much psychological as they were strategic. He cultivated a fearsome appearance, letting his beard grow long and wild, and was said to have woven lit fuses into it during battle, creating an image of a demon wreathed in smoke. Despite his brutality, Blackbeard was also known for his cunning and intelligence. He was a shrewd tactician, able to outmaneuver and outsmart his opponents, often choosing to avoid unnecessary bloodshed if it meant securing a quick and profitable victory. His most audacious act came in 1718 when he blockaded the port of Charleston, South Carolina for nearly a week. He demanded a chest of medicine in exchange for the hostages, a testament to his strategic thinking. He knew that valuable medical supplies were always in high demand among pirates. The blockade of Charleston sent shockwaves through the American colonies. It demonstrated the reach and power of Blackbeard's fleet, proving that even well-established ports were vulnerable to his attacks. Colonial authorities, realizing the threat posed by Blackbeard, began to organize a concerted effort to bring him down. Despite his growing list of enemies, Blackbeard remained defiant. However, Blackbeard's luck was about to run out. Blackbeard's flagship, the Queen Anne's Revenge, was more than just a ship. It was a symbol of his power and a floating fortress that instilled fear in the hearts of his enemies. Under Blackbeard's command, she was armed with 40 cannons, making her a formidable opponent in any naval encounter. Life aboard the Queen Anne's Revenge was harsh but surprisingly organized. Blackbeard, despite his fearsome reputation, understood that a disciplined crew was a successful crew. This combination of fear and reward fostered a sense of loyalty among his crew, making them a formidable force under his command. Blackbeard's crew was a motley assortment of individuals, drawn together by a shared thirst for adventure and the promise of riches. They were a mixture of seasoned sailors, escaped convicts, and desperate souls seeking a life outside the law. Life as a pirate offered an escape from the rigid social hierarchy of the 18th century. Despite the camaraderie, life aboard the Queen Anne's Revenge was fraught with danger. The threat of disease, storms, and enemy ships was ever present, yet the allure of wealth and freedom outweighed the risks for these hardened pirates. The Queen Anne's Revenge became a familiar sight in the Caribbean, her black flag with its horned skeleton striking fear into the hearts of merchant captains. Blackbeard's tactics were a blend of intimidation and strategic cunning. One of his most audacious exploits was the blockade of Charleston, South Carolina, in 1718. For nearly a week, Blackbeard and his crew held the port hostage, capturing several ships and their crews. He eventually released the hostages in exchange for a chest of medicine, a testament to his understanding of the value of essential supplies. However, Blackbeard's success made him a marked man. Edward Teach understood that to truly become Blackbeard, the terror of the seas, he had to embody the part. His thick black beard, the inspiration for his infamous name, played a central role in this transformation. But the most terrifying aspect of his appearance, according to legend, were the lit fuses he would weave into his beard before battle. Imagine the sight. Blackbeard wreathed in smoke and the sulphurous scent of burning fuses, his eyes gleaming through the haze, a demonic figure come to life. This theatrical display, a blend of showmanship and strategic cunning, had the desired effect. The sight of Blackbeard, his beard crackling with fire, was enough to unnerve even the most seasoned sailor. Section 2. Legends and Tales. Stories of Blackbeard's exploits spread like wildfire throughout the Caribbean and the American colonies. Some were true, exaggerated accounts of his daring raids and cunning escapes. Others were pure fabrication, spun by those who had encountered the pirate, or those who simply sought to capitalize on his infamy. One such legend claimed that Blackbeard would shoot his own men at random, just to keep the rest in line. While these stories are likely apocryphal, they served to enhance his image as a ruthless and unpredictable force. Blackbeard's reputation extended beyond the realm of sailors and pirates. These tales, whether true or embellished, all contributed to the legend of Blackbeard, transforming him from a mere mortal into a larger-than-life figure, a boogeyman of the high seas. Section 3. The Power of Fear. Blackbeard understood that fear was a currency as valuable as gold or jewels. It could buy him time, resources, and even loyalty. By cultivating a fearsome reputation, he could often avoid unnecessary bloodshed. The mere sight of his flag, a black banner emblazoned with a horned skeleton, was enough to send shivers down the spines of many a captain. He knew that a terrified enemy was more likely to surrender without a fight, saving him the trouble of a costly and dangerous battle. This psychological warfare proved remarkably effective. Blackbeard's reputation preceded him, allowing him to capture ships and plunder their cargo with surprising ease. But the power of fear was a double-edged sword. While it brought Blackbeard success and notoriety, it also made him a target. His infamy spread far and wide, reaching the ears of those in power who vowed to put an end to his reign of terror. Governors offered bounties for his capture, eager to rid the seas of the pirate menace. The more fearsome Blackbeard became, the more determined his enemies became to destroy him. His carefully constructed image, the devil's disguise he wore so effectively, ultimately contributed to his downfall. For in the end, even the most fearsome pirate is still flesh and blood. By late 1718, Blackbeard's reign of terror had reached its peak. His exploits had made him the most feared pirate in the Caribbean, but they had also made him a marked man. Governors throughout the region placed bounties on his head, eager to rid the seas of his menace. In Virginia, Lieutenant Robert Maynard, a young and ambitious officer in the Royal Navy, was tasked with the dangerous mission of hunting down and capturing Blackbeard. Maynard was given command of 2 sloops, the Ranger and the Jane, and a crew of experienced sailors and soldiers hand-picked for their fighting prowess. Maynard was aware of the challenge that lay before him. Blackbeard was a cunning and ruthless opponent, known for his tactical brilliance and the ferocity of his crew. But Maynard was determined to succeed, driven by a sense of duty and the allure of the fame and fortune that would come with capturing the notorious pirate. He began a meticulous pursuit, gathering intelligence from sailors and merchants who had encountered Blackbeard's fleet. He learned that Blackbeard had recently sailed north to the Outer Banks of North Carolina, a haven for pirates due to its shallow waters and hidden inlets. Maynard's pursuit led him to Ocracoke Island, a remote outpost known to be a favourite haunt of pirates. On the morning of November 22nd, 1718, he spotted Blackbeard's flagship, the Adventure, anchored in a shallow inlet. The Adventure, a smaller sloop than the Queen Anne's Revenge, was nonetheless a formidable vessel, armed with several cannons and manned by a loyal crew. Blackbeard, caught off guard, had been enjoying a night of revelry with his crew. Accounts differ as to whether he mistook Maynard's approaching sloops for merchant ships, or whether he simply underestimated the determination of his pursuers. Whatever the case, Blackbeard found himself facing a fight for his life. As Maynard's sloops closed in, Blackbeard ordered his cannons to fire. The small inlet erupted in a deafening roar as cannonballs tore through the air, splintering wood and sending plumes of water into the sky. The battle was joined, a desperate struggle for survival between 2 determined forces. Maynard, employing a clever tactic, had ordered his crew to conceal themselves below deck, giving Blackbeard the impression that his ships were lightly manned. As the Adventure drew closer, seeking to board the seemingly vulnerable sloops, Maynard's men sprang from their hiding places, muskets blazing, taking Blackbeard and his crew by surprise. What followed was a brutal and chaotic hand-to-hand battle. Blackbeard, a towering figure amidst the smoke and carnage, fought with legendary ferocity. He wielded his cutlass and pistols with deadly accuracy, cutting down any man who dared to stand in his way. Despite being outnumbered, Blackbeard and his crew fought like cornered animals. Blackbeard shrugged off wounds that would have felled a lesser man. Finally, surrounded and overwhelmed, Blackbeard fell. Even in death, his body slumped over the railing, refusing to fall into the water below. The most feared pirate of his time lay dead, his reign of terror finally at an end. But the legend of Blackbeard would live on, a cautionary tale of ambition and freedom. Blackbeard's death marked the end of an era, but it did not diminish his legend. His name, synonymous with piracy itself, continues to echo through history. The image he cultivated, the devil's disguise, has become an enduring symbol of the pirate archetype. He was a complex figure, a ruthless killer and a shrewd tactician. He was driven by greed, but also by a thirst for freedom and a desire to live life on his own terms. Blackbeard's story, a blend of fact and fiction, serves as a reminder of a time when pirates ruled the waves, challenging authority and capturing the imagination of a world hungry for adventure. His legacy, passed down through generations, continues to fascinate, a testament to the enduring power of legends and the allure of the pirate myth.